Hi there, Salve. I'm Mrs. Weiss. Welcome to Latin Storytime. Today I'm going to tell you the story of the ugly duckling. But first let me introduce you to the Latin words you'll hear. Here is anas, a bird that you hear go quack quack. And here are her anuticuli. So an anuticula is a baby anas. What does anuticula hatch from? Ovum. Maybe you eat chicken owa for breakfast. And then here's aqua. You may recognize this. This is what you drink every day, and maybe you play in it in the summer. Now, our last two words are the opposites of one another. Pulcher and foidas. Pulcher is something nice to look at. You may call a woman pulchra, or you may call a flower or a sunset pulchra. The opposite of pulcher is foidas. Foidas is something that's not nice to look at. Maybe a mean old witch in a fairy tale. So pulcher, something nice to look at. Foidas, not nice to look at. All right, now let's hear the story of Anuticula foida. It was the summertime. In a snug retreat sat Anas upon her nest, watching for her anuticulas to hatch from their ovies. At length, one ovum cracked, and soon another ovum, and from each ovum came anuticula that lifted its head and cried, peep, peep. Quack, quack, said the mother Anas, and then all the anuticuli tried to say it too, while they looked all about them at the tall green leaves and cool aquam. Are you all out of your ovies? She asked, rising to look. No, not all. The largest ovum lies there still. So she sat down again and waited. At last the great ovum broke, and the latest bird cried, peep, peep, as he crept forth from the shell. Oh, how big and foidas he was! The mother Anas stared at him and wondered, can this really be my child? The mother Anas took all anuticulas down to aquam and jumped in with a splash. Quack, quack, cried she, and one after another the little anuticuli jumped in. They swam about pulchre, and with their legs paddling under them as easily as possible. And right away, foida anuticula was also in aqua swimming with them. Oh, said the mother Anas, see how well he swims in aqua. He must be my own child. And he is not foidissimus at all if you look at him properly. Quack, quack, come with me now. I will introduce you all to the farmyard. Anuticuli followed her out of aqua. But the other anates stared and said, bless me, what a foida thing one of them is. We don't want him here. And then one flew out and bit him. Let him alone, said the mother Anas. He is not doing any harm. Yes, but he is so big and foidissimus. He's a perfect fright, said a spiteful Anas. The others are pulcherimus children, said an old Anas, all but that large one. He may not be pulcher, but he has a very good disposition, and swims even better than the others, said the mother Anas. And then she stroked his neck and smoothed his feathers, saying, I think he will grow up strong and able. So it went on from day to day. It grew worse and worse. The poor anuticula was driven about by everyone. Even his brothers and sisters were unkind to him, and would say, ah, you foida creature. And his mother had been overheard saying that she wished he was pulcher like his siblings. Anuticuli pecked him, the chickens beat him, and the girl who fed the poultry kicked him with her feet. So at last he ran away. He came upon a large moor, inhabited by wild anatibus. They stared at their new comrade. What sort of Anas are you? They all said, coming round him. He bowed to them and was polite as he could be. You are exceedingly foidas, said the wild anates. But that will not matter, as long as you do not want to marry one of our family. Poor thing, he had no thoughts of marriage. All he wanted was permission to lie among the rushes and drink some aqua. He waited quietly for several hours, and then went on his way again. Towards evening, he reached a poor little cottage. He sat down by the cottage. There was a narrow opening near the bottom of the door, large enough for him to slip through, which he did very quietly and got shelter for the night. Here in this cottage lived a woman, a cat, and a hen. In the morning, the strange visitor was discovered. The cat began to purr, and the hen began to cluck. "What is this noise about?" said the old woman, looking around the room. But her sight was not very good. Therefore, when she saw Anatikalam, she thought it must be a fat anatom that had strayed from home. "Oh, what a prize!" she exclaimed. "I hope it is not a male Anas, so I may have some owa. I must wait and see." Anatikala was allowed to remain for 3 weeks, but there were no owa. The hen and the cat mocked Anatikalam because he could not lay owa nor raise his back and purr. So Anatikala left the cottage and soon found Akwam on which it could swim and dive, but he was avoided by all other animals because of his foida appearance. Autumn came and then winter. One evening, just as the sun was setting amid radiant clouds, there came a large flock of polkarum birds out of the bushes. Anatikala had never seen any like them before. They were swans, and they curved their graceful necks while their soft plumage shone with dazzling whiteness. They spread their glorious wings and flew away from those cold regions to warmer countries across the sea. They mounted higher and higher in the air, and Foida Anatikala had a strange sensation as he watched them. He knew not the names of these birds, nor where they had flown, but he felt drawn to them, as he had never felt drawn towards any other bird in the world. He was not envious of these polkros creatures. It never occurred to him to wish to be as polkar as they. Poor Foida creature! He would have gladly lived with any creatures who only treated him kindly and gave him encouragement. The winter grew colder and colder. It would be very sad were I to relate all the misery which the poor little Anatikala endured during the hard winter. But when it was past, he found himself lying one morning amongst some rushes. He felt the warm sun shining and heard the larks singing and saw that all around was Polkrum spring. Then the young bird felt that his wings were strong as he flapped them against his sides. Everything looked polkra in the freshness of early spring. From a thicket close by came 3 polkry white swans, rustling their feathers and swimming lightly over the smooth Akwam. "I will fly to these royal birds," Anatikala exclaimed. "They may kill me, foidus as I am, but it does not matter. I must greet them." Then he flew to Akwam and swam towards polkra swans. The moment they espied the stranger, they rushed to meet him with outstretched wings. The poor bird bent his head down to the surface aquae and awaited death. But what did he see in the clear stream below? His own image. No longer a dark gray bird, foida and disagreeable to look at, but a graceful and pulchrum swan. The great swans swam round the newcomer and stroked his neck with their beaks as a welcome. Into the garden presently came some little children and threw bread and cake into Akwam. "There is another swan come, a new one has arrived," they shouted. Then they threw more bread and cake into Akwam and said, "The new one is Polkerimus of all. He is so young and Polkerimus." And the old swans bowed their heads before him. Then he felt quite ashamed and hid his head under his wing, for he did not know what to do, he was so happy. Yet he was not at all proud. He had been persecuted and despised for his foiditate. And now he heard them say he was Polkerimus of all the birds. Then he rustled his feathers, curved his slender neck, and cried joyfully from the depths of his heart, "I never dreamed of such happiness as this while I was the despised Foida Anatikala." The end. Thanks for joining me today for Latin Storytime. I'll see you next time. Bye! Hey parents! I want to help your kids keep learning Latin beyond our story time together. Visit latinstorytime.com/signup for free access to each of my parents' guides, where I give you a list of the new words your child learned today and some tips to help you practice those words naturally in your daily life. And remember to click the YouTube subscribe button so you catch each new episode. Thanks for watching, and I hope your family enjoys your Latin learning together.